Hello everybody, Arkansas Minuteman 0864 here today. Figured I'd make a quick video. Part 2 of those who prep properly survive. Now, prepping encompasses a lot of different things. A lot of people seem to be more concerned about stockpiling ammunition and weapons and all that. And yeah, that's part of it. But in my personal opinion, a person that's got a few thousand rounds of 22 ammunition and a good 22 caliber rifle and a shotgun and several hundred rounds of, number 6 or number 8 shot for squirrel, rabbit, and bird hunting, and some double all buck to take like deer or for self-defense. And I would say that I'm kind of like everybody else. The AR-15 is really the best prepper / Minuteman weapon that we've got out there. You probably need a couple of thousand rounds of that too. And people are like, well, you need all you can get. Well, okay, if you cannot stand your ground and you have to get out and bug out and go to a secondary spot, here is the $1 million question. How are you going to move all that ammunition? Just like I said in the first part of this, that you stockpile, but eventually you get to a point where you're no longer stockpiling, but rather you are hoarding. And then the question comes to bear again, even with food and water, if you have to bug out and you have to leave, how are you going to move all that stock that you've got? Well, I'll throw it in the back of my truck. Okay, well, if you've got enough stockpile, a truck ain't going to hold it all. A truck and a trailer won't hold it all, unless you got a semi-truck. And then the question comes to say that, what if your vehicle don't work? Let's say, for an example, Russia, China, North Korea, Iran, one of those countries sends over an electromagnetic pulse warhead, and they set off an EMP right in the middle of the United States lower 48 states, and that's going to obliterate everything electrical from coast to coast and from northern border to southern border. And it will actually take out part of Canada and part of Mexico too. And if you're driving basically somewhere about the late 70s model vehicle on up, you forget it. Your car ain't starting. The whole electrical system's fried. So again, how are you going to move it? Have you gotten old school and built you a replica of the wagons that they used to haul borax out of the borax mines of the old west out there around Utah, New Mexico, around that area, with 20 mules pulling each one? Well, that's pretty much what it would take to move it out. Another thing that people don't think about is, what are you going to use for tools? You need to be prepping, and you need to be going out and buying what we call old-timey tools. Hand saws, cross-cut saws, good axes. And you also need to be looking at other things like hand drills, brace and bit drills that's done by hand. You need to look at the different types of hand tools that they use for cutting down logs and flattening out the logs, like for building log cabins, log barns, and things like that. You need a good felon axe, and you also need a good broadhead axe. And you need to learn how to use them, and learn to use them safely, because those kind of tools are extremely dangerous. And we get into a scenario where infrastructure's down and you can't get an ambulance to come get you, or hospitals are down and they're not working like they should. Then you can't afford to take an axe and put it into your leg and cut your leg off, or put a deep gash in the calf of your leg, or cut a toe off or something like that, because now you just opened yourself up for a bad infection and most likely ultimately death. Because in a SHTF scenario, yeah, being able to get medical help is going to be probably far and few between. But along that lines, along with tools, you also need to be start your library. There's a set of books that was done way back in the early 70s. It started out as a college project. And I always get the title of these things usually backwards. It's either Foxfire or it's Foxfire, Firefox books. It was started as a college project way back in the early 70s, and the kids got so interested in it till they just kept going out, and they were interviewing old people that still remembered how to do things the old way by hand. And these books are slam packed full of knowledge: how to can, how to cut logs and shape them for building structures and whatnot. You can even, there's one book in there to teach you literally how to build a horse or mule drawn wagon. Shoot, they even got one edition of it that teaches you how to build a moonshine still in it. And that is most likely what it's going to go back to. And the people that's got that knowledge will be able to survive. They go into teaching you detail how to dress out rabbits and squirrels and deer and all kinds of different animals, and how to preserve the meat using the old ways of doing things. Putting meat and salt in a barrel, hanging it in a smokehouse and smoking it, and that kind of stuff. So you got to go and look at this whole thing, and you got to figure out that, yeah, there's more to prepping than just, well, I'll go to Patriot Supply and I'll buy freeze-dried meals for a year that's good for 25 years. I'll throw it in the closet, and when I need it, it'll be there. Well, what happens if you buy that, it's 28, 29, 30 years later, everything goes to Hades in a bread pan, and you ain't rotated your stock, you ain't replaced your stock, and now all your food you got there is out of date, non-usable. My last one, I talked about canned goods that you needed to rotate it and keep fresh. Best buy dates on your shelf, and always keep the oldest dates to the front and use them first. And I had at least one person that disagreed with me on that about the dates on there. Yes, you can actually go a little bit past the best buy date. However, I'm old enough, in my lifetime, I have seen cans of canned goods go bad way before that best buy or sell by or use by date has come and gone. That's why you rotate it. That way you know you're always keeping fresh stuff on the shelf. Then I see people out there talking about, and they are sponsored by Mira, and talk about everybody needs a gas mask / protective mask for nuclear radiation and for for chemical agents. Okay, here's some facts for you. In 24 years in the Army, one of my side jobs was the NBC NCO on nuclear, biological, chemical, and radiological. A gas mask is not going to save you in a nuclear blast or anything putting out radiation. That radiation is going to go straight through you like you're nothing. How do you think they get x-rays done on you when you go in to check for broke bones and other stuff? They're using radiation. Yes, if you breathe it in or you swallow it on food or in water or something like that, then yeah, the effects will take hold quicker because now it's definitely in your body. But don't think a gas mask is going to totally protect you from radioactive fallout from a nuclear blast. Fact number 2, a protective mask ain't going to save you too much good in the event of a chemical attack, whether it be mustard gas, sarin nerve gas, or phosgene or anything like that. Because if you do not have the chemical suit, the chemical gloves, the chemical boots, and you put it all on in a timely manner to keep that stuff off of you, it is going to hurt you very bad, and most likely it's going to kill you. If you throw a gas mask on and that's all you put on and they hit you with sarin or any type of nerve gas, it is absorbed through the pores of your skin. Your clothing will not protect you from that. Your chemical suits has got a charcoal-based lining in it that absorbs all of that stuff, and it's got an internal lining that, until it breaks down in there, puts an additional layer between you and the chemical agents, as does against mustard gas and also phosgene. And mustard can come in a gas form and it can come in a liquid form. Liquid form, it gets on you and it blisters you up real bad. You breathe it in, it blisters up your lungs and you literally drown to death. The same with phosgene. When you breathe in phosgene, it turns your lungs into a mush and you drown in it. So these people are not telling you the whole facts between on all of this. And you need to beware of what you read and what you hear on YouTube and in the media and in the local newspapers and anything else written out there. There's some other things that I've been thinking about on for prepping. We've covered the food. We've covered the guns, we've covered the ammunition. You need to, like I said, you need to stock up on hand tools. Okay, well I got battery operated hand tools. Okay, that's great. What you gonna do when the current goes out, your generators run out of gas, and you ain't got no electricity to plug in to an outlet to charge up your thing. Well, I got solar panels. Okay. I got a solar generator. Okay. Did you have that? Is that solar generator either in a Faraday cage, or was it built to be EMP proofed? Because if it happened, guess what? EMP strikes, you ain't got a source of electricity no more. You're done. You can't recharge those batteries. That's why I say you need to be going around the flea markets and buying the old-timey tools where you put that brace bit in your shoulder and you crank it by hand. And when it binds up, you reverse it, get the wood chuck out of it, and then you go back and you drill out a little bit more, back it out, and get the wood out of it, and keep doing that till you get your hole drilled. Yeah, you can stock up on like nails and screws and stuff like that, but eventually they're going to run out. And now you need to start figuring out, learning how to you need to learn how to carve out wood pegs, wood dowels, because that's how things used to be put together. The house that my grandmother was raised in, along with my dad, it dates back to 1866. It was built by my great-great-grandfather, and it is still standing. And I have gone through there, and there's parts of that house, especially on the front porch, where the porch is held together by wood dowels. He drilled the holes out by hand using a Britain-based brace drill, and then he took dowel rods and he carved them down to where they would fit, be a tight fit, and he drove them in with a hammer, and that's how it's being held together. And that's what we're most likely looking at going back to. Well, what else can we do to prep? Well, as Josh over at Modern Frontiersman says, become self-reliant. And if you go find those Foxfire series books and start reading them, and you start practicing what's in them, that's making you self-reliant. Go learn how to can. You grow a garden, you pick all your vegetables and you blanch them, and you stock up, and you ain't got to go buy mason jars. My mother I used to drink a lot of Gatorade when they came in glass jars, and my mother used old glass Gatorade bottles, and she canned a lot of the vegetables out of our garden into those Gatorade bottles, and they worked great. She bought the lids for them, and she'd get everything done, get them in there hot as it cooled down, and seal the lid, and boom, it was done. She also did a lot of freezing. Now here's the thing on freezing. What's going to happen if the current goes out? Well, you're going to be cooking a lot of soup probably, because you're going to have to be cooking a lot of meat you got in there and a lot of vegetables you got in there and anything else before it goes bad. Another thing that you could go and do is go out, if you've got the acreage and can do it, dig you a hole in the ground and basically build you a root cellar. Because if you get a root cellar, you get it down deep enough, most root cellars will go and maintain a temperature of between 50 and 60 degrees year round. And that'll keep a lot of stuff cool. And you could dig potatoes out of the ground and go lay them out in a root cellar like that, and they'll last all winter long because of the coolness. They won't start sprouting because it's cool enough to keep them from sprouting, but it's also cool enough to keep them from rapidly deteriorating. So, like I said, when you get to prepping, you got to go and stop, look, listen, and read, and think about it. What all am I going to need? How much am I going to need? The best case scenario is, I would say, no more than a year's worth, because I really believe that if it got too bad within a year, things would be starting to sort itself out. But then again, this is where part of prepping is. You get with people in your neighborhood, and you all form a tribe, and you watch each other's back, and you help each other out, and that way you're always helping each other. You got somebody you can fall back on. You may need something, but Billy Bob over there may have more than what he needs, and you may have a yellow widget that he needs because he ain't got no more, and you go swap them out, barter it out between the two of you. You got each other covered, everything's taken care of, and you're good to go. But anyway, and that's it, pretty much wrapped up in a nutshell. I may or I may not come back and do a part 3 of this. If I do, it may be on, I may get some of the books out and go over some of the books and talk about things in that series and some other books. Oh, if you're looking a really good survival book, pick up the SAS Survival Manual. That's a really good one. That's another thing. One more thing right quick. Learn how to hunt and learn how to trap. Because that is probably where the majority of your meat is going to come from. And so you need to learn how to set traps, set snares, and learn how to hunt. So, until next time, this is the Arkansas Minuteman 0864 signing off and reminding you that whoever preps properly survives.